Good morning, everybody. Now, as you probably know, GB News has suspended both Laurence Fox and Dan Wootton from the air for the time being. We don't know if they will ever come back, probably not. And this comes after Laurence Fox made comments live about not shagging a particular woman in a discussion on Me Too feminism. So there's been lots of people saying lots of different things about this, and there are conflicting angles on this, like many things that we appear in our news today. But first of all, I need to say, at the very least, you have to be an absolute five-star buffoon in order to say something like that live on air. Now, whatever you would say as banter in a pub where no one else is looking and there's no cameras and you're with your mates, you don't bring that into a television studio in front of an audience of hundreds of thousands and potentially millions or even tens of millions if it goes viral on social media like it has done. It's just simply unprofessional. I've been on GB News many times. I've never said anything of that nature at all. In fact, I wouldn't even dream of it. And I've been in politics for 10 years on the front line, and I've never said anything like that live when the cameras are rolling. You just don't do that. You've got to be an idiot to do that. And, you know, at best an idiot. At worst, it could even be sabotage. I don't know. I mean, you've got to bear in mind, Laurence Fox is an actor. So who knows whether he's acting or not? I don't know. But this certainly is not good for GB News as a whole. And they've been frantically covering their back because this is now handed Ofcom, and the enemies of free speech and the enemies of the freedom movement a loaded gun in order to shoot him and to shoot anyone who is associated with him. So, you know, I'm not saying that this is deliberate sabotage, but that is just the world we live in. And if you're not aware of that, then you are particularly, not very intelligent to be doing this without having an understanding of the consequences that are going to come if you say something like this live on air. Now, the second thing to say is that the person who was the subject of his comments is a woman called Ava Santina. I've met her a couple of times in the green room before some television, clips and television programs. So I don't know her very well. But, she is a Me Too feminist. So, obviously she's going to use this to claim that what he said was misogynistic and it was anti-women and it makes her feel unsafe. However, if you look at her own Twitter feed, she's actually said pretty much exactly the same as what Laurence Fox says about her, about other men and to other men. I just did a search this morning and there's 5 times where she said similar things on social media. Okay, not on live television, but on social media. She's written, I'm not going to shag you, pal. I'm not going to shag you, mate. Laurence isn't going to shag you. He's not going to shag you. So she's done exactly the same as what Laurence Fox has done. So there is a lot of hypocrisy, obviously, in the side of the culture war, which wants to attack free speech and which wants to advance these agendas like radical feminism. There is huge hypocrisy from the people on that side. So, I don't have too much sympathy with her because she said exactly the same thing multiple times and posted it publicly on social media for everybody to see. That doesn't excuse or exonerate Laurence Fox at all, because he is putting himself forward as a leader of a political party, a leader in the freedom movement, although he wasn't in the freedom movement at the very beginning. He only joined after a year and started going on marches, way after myself and any other people, lots of other people. And he's putting himself forward as a leader in the conservative movement, if you like, to re-establish conservative principles. But by doing this, he's actually discrediting the conservative movement. He's discrediting the freedom movement and truth movement, and we deserve better. And a very good article on this point was written by Miri Finch yesterday, who was talking about this. And this, someone coming up and repeatedly and regularly acting like a clown brings discredit to everybody who is genuinely trying to re-establish decency and conservative principles and freedom in our nation. It's just, can you imagine, and this is a point Miri Finch made as well, can you imagine Keir Starmer going on television and saying about, somebody in the conservative movement, oh, he wouldn't shag them? Or can you imagine Rishi Sunak going on television and he just had an argument, a bit of a Barney with Angela Rayner, the Labour Party deputy leader? Can you imagine Rishi Sunak going on television afterwards and instead of discussing what they were arguing about in the Parliament, going, oh, well, I wouldn't shag her? It just wouldn't happen. No one in their right mind who is putting themselves forward as a serious political leader who wants to achieve something of substance in the nation and restore our nation would even think about going on television, on live television, and saying that any kind of thing like that. It just wouldn't happen. So this brings everybody into disrepute. So GB News have done the right thing in suspending Laurence Fox, because it is important that GB News continues and it gives a voice to people who support free speech and have alternative views to the Ofcom approved mainstream. Now, I go on there and I can talk about transgenderism being an ideology which is unscientific. I can go on there and I can talk about climate change being wrong. And, well, there is climate change, but anthropogenic climate change and climate alarmism being an ideology based on erroneous science because carbon dioxide is not harmful. I can go on and I can talk about, I can oppose the ULEZ and 15-minute cities and the cashless society and all kinds of important things. Okay, it's not perfect. There still is a window where, they try, they don't let you talk about this over here, but you can talk about a broader range of subjects and put forward a broader range of views than would be allowed on the other mainstream platforms. So it is important, and I will continue to go on GB News, and I'm happy to do so. And it's right that they are protecting themselves, because what if people who are standing up for this and saying, oh, well, they should be allowed to say whatever he likes on GB News. Yes, I agree with free speech, but you got to realize the world we are in. If you go and say something like this, you're handing a weapon to your enemies, and you're not going to achieve what you want to achieve if you use free speech to be as degenerate as the liberal cultural Marxist left. That's not what I want to use free speech for. A very pertinent comment to end was tweeted out by my friend Abby Roberts yesterday. Free speech deserves better. It does. And I wish this episode had never happened. It has. And we just have to pick up the pieces and move on from here and realise that for the time being now, Laurence Fox has given Ofcom a loaded gun to beat us over the head with and to shoot us with. And that really is, at very best, to say, not smart at all.